We're starting very soon. So you can invite someone to join us, or you can share with your friends and colleagues so that they will also participate, so that they will also benefit from to get these tricks, these tips, which are very useful in our day to day that work or professional life, or as students or as tutors. Some of these spreadsheet tricks will become very useful to us. So I entreat you to stay with me for the next 15 or 20 minutes so we can grab some three useful tips or functions in spreadsheet. So we should start now, I think, very well. So in today's lesson, we are going to look at these three functions. The first one is the REPT function. The REPT function. It is not that common to most spreadsheet users, but I believe at the end of this lesson, you are going to really know what it does, the usefulness of it, and how you can apply it going forward, as and when you need it. The next one we'll be looking at is the least common multiple with LCM function. The least common multiple, or the LCM function. Those who are math students, I'm sure this sounds familiar to you. Mathematics students, this sounds familiar to you. We are going to see how we can apply it or use it in Excel. The third one we'll be looking at is the trim function, how we can apply it and its usefulness whilst working on your spreadsheet. We are going to look at them one by one. So I think we should just start now, in order not to just bother you with much theories. Practicals is what is needed now. So with the REPT function, to start with, we have been given this table, and this table comprises of some teams which had some competition or they participated in some quiz. And at the end of the day, these points were allotted to them, or these were the points they had at the end of the day. So, for example, Team A had six points, Team B had 9 points, C had 5 points, 3 had 3 points, E had 7 points, F had 2, which is I think the least or the lowest, and G had 4, H had 10. Now with these points, we would like to represent them with some stars, or we want to rate it in a way that if you are to do any presentation with this data, it will be very meaningful to your audience. So we can represent these numbers or points with stars. And someone may ask, how do I get these stars in Excel or in your spreadsheet? At the end of this, you are going to know how to get it or where to get it to apply it in your spreadsheet. So to start, we have to activate our REPT function this way. So equals REPT, open parenthesis this way. After entering the REPT or activating the REPT function this way, you open the parenthesis, then you begin by entering quotation marks. Now, after the quotation marks, you combine these two keys on your keyboard. That's the Windows key plus dot, or the full stop key. If you are using an Apple device, it is the command key plus the dot or the full stop key. But I'm using a Windows machine, so Windows plus the dot or the full stop key, which is going to pop up this dialog box of emojis. This is very common to those who are on social media or who are on maybe WhatsApp or any other platform they are chatting. Or even if you are sending SMS. So you can sometimes include some of these emojis. So in spreadsheet, for you to get it, just combine the Windows key plus the dot or the full stop key. So after that, you go through or maneuver through to go and look for the star emoji, which is this. The star emoji. After selecting it this way, then you close the dialog box. Then you press quotation marks again, or you break quotation marks again, then comma. So now you come and select the point or the numbers you are trying to represent the stars with. You select it this way, you close the parentheses or the brackets, and you hit enter. Very nice. So as you can see, we have 6 stars, which are representing the 6 points Team A had or they got in the competition. Very incredible. You can do for the rest one by one, but for time's sake, you just have to apply the formula by you clicking here, you hold and drag to the last team. Very incredible. And the formula is going to automatically populate the stars to represent the number of points each team had in the competition. To make them a bit unique or to stand out, you can do some formatting or apply some coloring to them to ensure they are quite unique from one another. So you go to the formatting here, you go and choose a color for this. You do as well for this, and then you do as well for maybe this, and then same for this. Let me choose black here, and then this one. I think. Let me choose this, and then with this, let me choose green, and then with this, I think. Okay, I chose green here, and then this. Let me look for a different color. Let me come here and see if I can get some suitable color for it. Let me choose this as well. Great. So as beautifully done, all these points here, which were gotten by these teams after the competition, have been represented by these stars. So if you can see, the team H had 10 points, or they got 10 points, which this point have been represented by 10 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very simple and very easy to do. Alright, so let's now proceed to the second function, which is very common to most maths or mathematics students. Yes. Now the least common multiple into bracket LCM function in Excel. Now let's try to understand what it means. The LCM or the least common multiple means, or it is the smallest number that 2 or more numbers can divide into evenly. Let me repeat. The LCM function, or the LCM, which is the least common multiple, is the least number that 2 or more numbers can divide into evenly. Example, 10 can be divided by 2 and 5 evenly. I think here should be or. Yeah. 10 can be divided by 2 or 5 evenly, such that 10 over 2 or 10 divided by 2 will give you 5. And let's say we are 2 people. Then if you have to divide 10 things or oranges amongst yourself. Each is going to have 5. And the same way, if you are to divide 10 oranges for 5 people, each person is going to have 2. So these 10 oranges have been divided evenly amongst 5 people, and then 2 people, but they had 5 and also had 2 respectively. So if you come back to the exercise here, we are trying to find out the least common multiple number. That if you are to multiply 4 here by a certain number, you are to get that number. If you are to multiply this 6 here by a certain number, you are going to get the same number. And if you are to multiply 8 here by a certain number, you are going to get the same number, the same as 10 and 12. If you are to multiply them by a particular number or particular numbers, you are going to get the same number. So let's apply the least common multiple function. I'm sure most spreadsheet users didn't know that it also existed, but it exists. So let's see how it can be applied here. So equals LCM, open bracket or parenthesis. Then you come and select the first number, which is 4. Then comma. Then press and hold Control key on your keyboard. And then you select the second number, which is 6. Then comma. Control again, you select 8. Then comma. Control again, you select 10. Then comma. Control again, you select 12. Then comma. But note, after you select the cell, before you can enter the comma, make sure you release the Control key, or you take off your hand from it to enter the comma. Then when you are done, you press the Control again to select the next number or cell. So, and then correction, there wouldn't be any comma after selecting the last number. Yes. The only thing you have to bring is to what? Close the bracket or the parenthesis this way. Then you hit on enter. Incredible. So we are having here that 120 is being given to us as the least common multiple number. The least common multiple number, which means that a particular number can be multiplied by 4 to get 120. A particular number too can be multiplied by 6 to get the same 120. A particular number can also be multiplied by 8 to get the same 120. 10 to get 120. 12 by a certain number to get 120. Now, let's try to find out which numbers can we multiply by each of these numbers to arrive at this same number, which is 120. Now, let's go for our calculator to just demonstrate that. Let me bring it here. Alright, so for us to know that, we just simply divide 120 by 4. So 120 divided by 4, which is 30. It means that for us to get 120, which is the least common number, we have to multiply 30 by 4 to arrive at 120. I hope that's clear. Let's try for the 6 and see. So 120 divided by 6. It means that for us to get 120, we have to multiply 20 by 6 or times 6, 20 times 6 to get 120. It's the same thing. Because for 4, we multiplied 30 by 4 to get 120. So let me indicate them this way so that you don't forget them. So it means that for us to get 122, we have to multiply 6 by 20 in order to what? To get 120. Let's do for the LCM for this as well, or which number to multiply by 8 to get 120. So 120 divided by 8. Great. So it means that for us to get 120, we have to multiply 8 by 15 in order to get 120. We should also check for 10. 120 divided by what? 10. I think it will be 12. Great. Which means that 12 would have to be multiplied by 10 to get 120. And then the last one would also be, I think, 10. In the opposite way, or direct opposite way, if you can multiply 10 by 12 to get 120, then it means you can also multiply 12 by 10 to get 120. So basically, it is telling us that 120 here is the least common multiple number in which, if you are to multiply all these numbers by certain numbers, such as 30, 20, 15, 12, and 10, you are going to arrive at the same least common multiple number, which is 20. Sorry, 120. I hope that is clear. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. I'll have time to respond or give you feedback. And you also have any other trick or any other way of doing any of these, you can let me know in the comment section so I'll also learn. Yeah. Okay, next. Let me close the calculator since we are done with it. Our next thing to look at is the trim function. The trim function, which is one of the useful functions I also like most. We can see that we have some sentences here, such as learning Microsoft Excel is fun. And then Microsoft Excel has a lot of benefits. How often do you use Microsoft Excel? Do you know how to use Microsoft Excel? Do you use it as a professional or a student? Now, what we can see here is that there are some huge spaces between these sentences, which are not usual, and we do not need them. They don't look normal. So we have to make sure we do away with them, we get rid of them. In most cases, what we do is to what? Just click on backspace like this to close the spaces. But the unfortunate thing is, if you are to have a lot of data on your spreadsheet, it's going to take you much time to close or to do away with all these spaces. Some too prefer to just highlight the spaces this way, then they either press on delete or backspace to do away with the spaces, which is quite more advanced than the first one. But like I said, if you have a lot of data on your spreadsheet, it's going to take you some couple of times or minutes to finish. So simply, this is where we can apply the trim function. You can apply it this way by activating it, starting with equals, then trim, open bracket or parenthesis. Then you select your sentence this way. You can close the bracket or not. Just leave it as it is, but it still work, and press enter. Incredible. So you see that the trim function has trimmed out all the spaces between these sentences. And this was the result. Very beautiful. Nicely done. Let's try for the other one too. Trim, open parenthesis, this. Like I said, you can close the bracket or leave it that way, it will still work. In this one, I'm going to leave it as it is. then enter. Nicely, it has trimmed off the spaces, or it has trimmed out all the spaces between the words, which has arranged them nicely in the normal way. Let's try it for this one too. Equals trim, open parenthesis. We select, we can close or not to close the bracket, then enter. It has also trimmed it nicely for us. Next, trim, open parenthesis or bracket, select, you can close it or not close it, then enter. Lastly, trim, that's equals trim, open parenthesis, select, then enter. So as you can see, the trim function has nicely trimmed all the spaces between the sentences or the words you were having, or the text we had. So this is a useful function we can always use, or we can usually use when especially we are having huge data to work on, to save much time, or to save us a lot of time. If you have any question, please let me know in the comment section. Just a quick recap. So, with the REPT function, it is usually used to represent certain symbols or characters in Spreadsheet or in Excel. So we were able to represent these numbers by these stars. This number by these stars. We were able to represent them. So you can do that by applying the REPT function. How do you start? The formula will be equals, I think, let me copy it and share it with you in the comment section, just for you to have a clue of it. Okay, I've shared that with you. But note, in the formula, which starts with equals, then REPT, and then open bracket, quotation marks, then star, quotation marks. But remember, the star, I've already demonstrated it. For you to get it, you combine the Windows key and the dot key to open the emojis for the star to choose from. And then you enter comma again, then you select the cell, then you close the bracket, you press enter, and it's going to what? Represent all the points here, or the numbers here, with these stars. It's very simple. You can after doing this, you can just copy it as a form of picture or something, and then go and represent it either in PPT, that's PowerPoint, or any other place for your presentation to your audience. Now, the least common multiple, which is the LCM function, is also basically to what? The smallest number in which two or more numbers can divide into it evenly. So we were able to find out that thus a number in which if you have to multiply any of these numbers, we have to arrive at 120. So the least common multiple function told us that, or gave us that, we can always multiply 40 by 30 to get 120, 6 by 20 to get 120, 8 by 15 to get 120, and the rest as being shown. So that one too, we were able to have it done this way by what? Applying I hope you can see the formula. Starting with equals, then LCM, open bracket, and then we selected the respective cells containing the numbers we're trying to work for. And then you close the brackets, you hit enter. Then it gives you 120. So basically you know that 120 is the least common multiple number. But for us to also know these numbers to multiply the top ones by, we divided this by 4 to get 30. The 30 after finding the LCM of 20. We also divided this by 6 to get the 120. So basically this is what it does. I'm sure one or two or the three of all these functions will become useful to you going forward. If nothing at all, at least one or two. I'm sure you're going to need them as a professional or as a student or wherever you find yourself. This is very simple and very basic. So I'll end today's lesson here and I'll come your way again with more useful ones. And if you don't mind, you can share this video with your friend or you like it to show your support. And most importantly, you can leave your feedback in the comment section. So if I have to do some amendments or some improvements, then I have to take that clue from your feedback. Also, if you visit my page, I have already made some useful videos on Excel tricks, formulas, and others. And even with PowerPoint tutorials, how to prepare slides and other infographics in PowerPoint and the rest. Also in Microsoft Word, some tricks that I personally never knew they existed in Microsoft Word. I have done tutorials on them and other useful professional tutorials you can think of. So you can visit my page and take advantage of them and learn to improve your skills. So you stand out or you become a standout as an Excel user or a PPT user or Microsoft Word user. So I'm going to end the tutorials here and I'll come your way again like I've already said with the next one. So until we meet again, I'll say bye-bye to you. All the best and stay safe.